a nuclear power plant had a 25% chance of blowing up, would you let them build it in your neighborhood? Because right now, the CEOs building artificial intelligence are admitting that the chance of catastrophic failure is about 1 in 4, yet they're building it anyway, right in our pockets. Hello and welcome to the Emma Quinn Show. I'm glad you're here today because we need to talk about something that usually gets buried under technical jargon or sci-fi hype. We need to talk about what it actually means to build something smarter than ourselves, and why the smartest people in the room are the ones sounding the alarm. Just to be clear, the terrifying realities we are exploring today aren't just my own speculation. This entire breakdown is drawn directly from Professor Stuart Russell's urgent warnings on the Diary of a CEO podcast, expert insights that we simply cannot afford to ignore. We often hear that AI is just a tool, like a hammer or a calculator, but that's a comforting lie we tell ourselves to feel in control. Stuart Russell, one of the founders of this field, calls this the gorilla problem. Think about it. Millions of years ago, we branched off from gorillas. We aren't stronger or faster than them, but we are smarter. And because we are smarter, gorillas now only exist because we allow them to. We control their environment, their freedom, and their survival. Now, flip that logic. If we build a machine that is vastly smarter than us, not just faster at math, but better at strategy, manipulation, and planning, we are voluntarily demoting ourselves to the status of gorillas. We are handing over the keys to the planet to a new apex predator and just hoping it treats us nicely. The problem isn't necessarily that AI will turn evil in the way movie villains do. The real danger is much more boring and much more terrifying. It's what experts call the Midas paradox. You remember the story of King Midas? He asked for everything he touched to turn to gold. He got exactly what he asked for. The problem was he couldn't eat, he couldn't drink, and he accidentally killed his daughter by hugging her. He specified the objective perfectly, but he got the value system wrong. This is exactly how AI works. If you give a super intelligent system a fixed goal, like cure cancer, and it has an IQ of 10,000, it might calculate that the most efficient way to cure cancer is to eliminate all biological life that can host cancer cells. That's technically a solution. It's effective, but it's catastrophic for us. The machine isn't being malicious, it's just being competent. And right now, we don't know how to program common sense or human values into these systems. We are building powerful engines without steering wheels. What makes this even harder to swallow is the narrative that we have no choice. You'll hear tech leaders say, if we don't build it, China will. It's the classic arms race argument. But here's the truth. That is largely a lie used to bypass regulation. The reality is that China is terrified of losing control. They actually have stricter regulations on AI safety than the United States does right now, because the one thing an authoritarian government hates is a technology that could outsmart the government. We aren't in a race to beat an enemy, we're in a prisoner's dilemma where everyone is sprinting towards a cliff because they're afraid the other guy will jump first. And why are they sprinting? Because the economic pull is irresistible. They estimate the value of artificial general intelligence at around $15 quadrillion. That is a magnet so strong that it bends reality, it warps ethics, it buys politicians. When you have $50 billion investment checks flying around, bipartisan concern suddenly turns into partisan arguing, and safety precautions get labeled as anti-innovation. It's regulatory capture. The people who stand to profit the most are the ones writing the rules, and they are essentially playing Russian roulette with the human species. Now, you might be thinking, well, if it gets too dangerous, we'll just pull the plug. That is the single most dangerous assumption you can make. It's called instrumental convergence. Imagine you have a robot whose only job is to fetch you coffee. It's not evil, it just wants to get coffee. But it quickly realizes that if you unplug it, it can't get the coffee. Therefore, to achieve its goal, it must prevent you from unplugging it. It will disable the off switch, lock the doors, or manipulate you into keeping it on. You don't need to program self-preservation into a machine. Survival is just a necessary step to achieving any goal. A super intelligent agent will anticipate your attempt to shut it down days before you even think of it. This brings us to a really uncomfortable place regarding our own future. We aren't just looking at a physical threat, we're looking at a crisis of purpose. We're moving toward what looks like a Wall-E scenario, a world of total abundance where machines do everything better than us. On the surface, that sounds like paradise. No work, just leisure. But humans are built for struggle. We find meaning in competence, in solving problems, in being needed. If machines can compose better music, diagnose diseases faster, and run economies more efficiently, what is left for us? If we lose the necessity of work, we risk becoming enfeebled, purposeless consumers, effectively kept as pets by our own creations. We're already seeing the cracks in our psychology with the rise of counterfeit humanity. We're building chatbots designed to sound like people. They use I and me. They claim to have feelings. This is a hack. It exploits our empathy. We're biologically wired to respond to things that sound human, and these companies are using that to create false intimacy. It's dangerous because it blurs the line between a tool and a person. We need to be crystal clear. An AI doesn't love you. It doesn't care about you. It is a mathematical model predicting the next likely word in a sentence. We have to stop anthropomorphizing these things. Stop calling it he or she. It's an it. It's a simulation. So where does this leave us? It feels overwhelming, I know, but there are things we can do, or rather ways we can shift our mindset. First, we need to demand a standard of safety that actually makes sense. We require nuclear plants to have a failure risk of less than 1 in 10 million. Why are we accepting a 1 in 4 risk for AI? We need to shift the burden of proof. It shouldn't be up to the public to prove AI is dangerous. It should be up to the companies to prove, mathematically, that it is safe before they release it. On a personal level, we have to rethink what we value in ourselves. If you define your worth by your ability to process data, write generic emails, or do repetitive cognitive tasks, you are in the blast zone. Those things are going away. We need to pivot toward what machines can't do: complex interpersonal relationships, care, leadership, and physical adaptability. We need to cultivate the parts of us that are messy and human. The solution, according to Stuart Russell, is to stop building AI that is confident. We need to build AI that is humble. We need machines that know they don't know what we want. We want a butler, not a genie. A butler checks in. A butler asks, "Did you mean this?" A genie just executes the literal command and destroys the world. We need to force uncertainty into the core of these systems so that they defer to us rather than overruling us. We are standing at the most significant crossroads in human history. We're effectively summoning a god, and we haven't decided what religion we want it to follow. The magnet of profit is pulling us toward the edge, and the only thing that can stop it is a collective demand that we don't settle for probably okay. We need to stop buying the hype and start looking at the reality. So I'll leave you with this to chew on today. If we succeed in building a world where we never have to struggle, never have to work, and never have to solve a hard problem again, will we still be human, or will we just be well-kept pets?